is Victory in Europe Day. The German war is therefore at an end.
My parents went out on the balcony in response to the huge crowds outside. I think we went on the balcony nearly every hour, 6 times. And then when the excitement of the floodlights being switched on got through to us, my sister and I realized we couldn't see what the crowds were enjoying. My mother had put her tiara on for the occasion, so we asked my parents if we could go out and see for ourselves. I remember we were terrified of being recognized, so I pulled my uniform cap well down over my eyes. A grenadier officer amongst our party of about 16 people said he refused to be seen in the company of another officer improperly dressed. So I had to put my cap on normally. We cheered the King and Queen on the balcony and then walked miles through the streets. I remember lines of unknown people linking arms and walking down Whitehall, all of us just swept along on a tide of happiness and relief. And I also remember when someone exchanged hats with a Dutch sailor, a poor man coming along with us in order to get his cap back. The knowledge also that in defending ourselves, we were defending the liberties of the whole world. We are on the brink of a new century, a new millennium. It is up to us to set it on a peaceful, confident, and prosperous course. Better days will return. We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. We will meet again.
Hello folks and welcome to the Gers TV. It's a one-off, it's a weekly, not the weekly, the one-off quiz on the Williamite Wars. It's been a series of events and speeches by Warren Rainey, Warren's with me tonight, and I hope everyone's enjoyed them so far. Tonight we're going to find out how well you've all done. How you doing, Warren?
Not too bad, brother, not too bad at all. A lovely day here in Ulster, and it was great to remember our people who sacrificed themselves today for our freedom, and we I hope everybody out there remembered our 2 minutes silence at 11 o'clock.
Fantastic stuff. Before we start, guys, we're not going to be in any mass rush. It's the first time we've done anything live on YouTube and no Facebook, so most of our people that watches on Facebook. So if you get a chance, can you do a wee quick share on your computers or phones or whatever you're watching on, so everybody's got an opportunity. The reason we're doing the quiz and the reason we're doing the chats, one of the reasons that I wanted to get involved with this, and probably Warren might be different, he'll give his opinion in a minute. A lot of people sing about these songs and our history, and we talk about them in bars and at football and everything else, but how many people actually know the real story about what happened at the Glorious Revolution? And to me, that wee bit of education is fantastic. What do you think, Warren?
Yeah, I totally agree. That's why I started doing everything that I do about the Williamite Wars. Talking to young people, talking to people from our community, especially here in Ulster, and the lack of understanding of where they're really from and what the whole thing is truthfully about was why I started doing this. So reenactment to me, dressing up is the whole part of the education. So there's nothing better, I personally feel, to engage with young people in a uniform because they seem to want to come over and talk to you when you have a gun and when you have a drum and you're whacking and you're making a lot of noise. Kids love it. Kids love it. And you know, as I say, I go around the country and do these talks through Orange Halls and Loyalist Halls and Loyal Orders and also communities, not just Loyalists, but communities right throughout the country. And it's a great way of spreading the word and the truth about the whole situation and the campaign.
Yeah, it's not just that. I mean, we've got a fantastic story, and sometimes I believe that the world should know our story, but everyone seems to know that there's so many historical stories that are repeated over and over again, like Hollywood movies and everything else. And we sing the song, it's so but it's beautiful and its colours are fine. So many people don't know the sacrifice and what the glorious revolution actually gave to ourselves and why we're here and what privileges we've got from it.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the liberties and freedoms that we have today, we talked about very much today about VE Day, but we have to think pre-VE Day what people did for us, not just VE Day, not just World War One, but right back in our history, right back to the start. You know, even before the Williamite Wars too, we have to look and thank people like the martyrs, you know, people like my lodge is named after William Tyndale, one of the Protestant martyrs who was martyred for his belief. You know, many thousands of people in Scotland in the killing times lost their lives. You know, you've Margaret Wilson and the Solway martyrs. You know, this is all part of our history. It's all part of what we should be embracing. And I totally agree with you. I think the rest of the world should know our story because it's a wondrous story. It's as good as anything that's out there. I mean, you've talked about this before, but it would make a superb movie. You know, if Hollywood got their hands on the likes of the Siege of Derry, Siege of Londonderry, and done a movie about that, it would be amazing. But it doesn't seem to be what they want to do. When they come to Ireland and they want to do a movie, it's all about provisional IRA and how, you know, what they want to show. Very rarely does it ever show a movie here. I think I can count in one hand the movies made about Northern Ireland that shows my culture in a positive light. The rest of the movies made about Northern Ireland, hundreds that have been made, are all about the Troubles and the Provisional IRA and the hunger strikers and all that. That's their history, and I don't deny them that history. But this is our history, and this is our day, and this is what this is all about.
Aye, of course. I mean, for an example, right, if I was to walk down any street in Glasgow or maybe anywhere in Scotland and had a big flag with King William on it, that a lot of people in the communities would automatically associate that, well, he's got a sectarian flag, it's sectarian.
That's right.
Where you're actually walking about, where you've got a flag with a former monarch of our country, a leader of our country who gave us religious freedom. And never gave us religious freedom, gave everyone religious
freedom. That's right, Zach. I mean, William of Orange, as the stadholder of the Netherlands, was one of the first ever stadholders, which is like the president. He was never king of the Netherlands or king of the Dutch provinces. He was like a president, and he was the first ever stadholder to give ultimate freedom to the Catholics in the south. And this is why the Pope actually comes to William and wants to be an ally of William during this campaign.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is the whole thing. And if there's any Catholics or any people on here who, and they've been putting up some very negative posts online, I'm sorry, but you need to go and educate yourselves as well, because this is part of your history. Of course, the rights you have as a British citizen is because of what King William brought to this country. He brought the Bill of Rights to this country, and that is part of your freedoms today. So it's nothing to do with religion. And I said it last week, you can call it orange and green if you want, but it's a lot more complicated than that.
Exactly. So that's why, anyway, well, we're going to do this. So the idea is that people's going to be a bit educated. They're having going a bit of fun and laughter. And they're also going to realise this is who we are. This is who the people that, this is why Britain is Britain and why we've got the freedoms that we've got.
Yeah, it's a bit of fun. And I hope everybody has been listening over the last couple of weeks, because some of the questions are fairly easy. And some of the ones you have to think about it and you have to think back to the talks. So if you haven't been watching the talks, have a good stab at the question and the answer anyway. It's multiple choice, so that will help you. Okay.
Okay. Before we start the quiz, Warren, see if anybody's a member of like a loyal order, like an Orange Order, a Black Preceptory, an Apprentice Boy, a flute band, or just whatever town they're from, or whatever. Let us know. Just give us a wee idea of the demographics.
I'm Warren. I'm originally from Dundonald, but I live in Larne for my sins. But this is a joke between me and my partner. But Larne's a beautiful place, and I know you're originally from Ridley, where I used to work.
Yep.
So everybody get in contact and tell us where they're from. That would be great.
And as I say, I'm a member of LOL 214, the Loyal Sons of Ulster, Denniston. Fantastic lodge. And we go out our way to do things for the community, and we remember our history and things like that. Guys, just let us know who you are, what you are, and get involved.
Yep, my lodge is Tyndale LOL 1869, number 2 District, Belfast. And again, a lot of our members work within the NHS and have done great work. Not just, there's a lot of drivers and stuff too within our ranks. I would love to be back to work, but unfortunately I have a heart condition and it basically takes me away. And I usually do work in care with people with special needs. So
brilliant. So without any more ado, we're going to start the quiz. How many questions have we got?
We've got 50.
50, 50.
50.
And it's multiple choice, everyone?
Yes, so the first 10 will be the pre-history before the Williamite Wars. Okay.
Right. And?
So when Davey's ready there, he can put the first one up.
Right. And before we do that, we'll know what we're going to do is the winner's going to win a bottle of King William gin.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's your part of the promotion.
You said to me you were going to mention it.
No, well, you're the one that knows all about the gin better than me, so I'll let you. Well, I know King William brought with him here to Ireland.
We've got a bottle of King William Blood Orange gin up for as a prize, and King William gin's going to be doing more promotions with the Gers TV in the future. To get obviously their name out, let's not kid ourselves, but to get the story of King William out as well. And the Gers TV will be part of that promotion. Sandra won't go on the chat tonight. Sandra's going to be the judge. She's doing the messages, and she's also going to be replying to the messages, and she's also going to be checking the scores. So she'll be the one to blame if you don't win.
And of course, the scores, the winner will be announced on Tuesday. Is that right, Davey? Yeah. So we're going to announce the winner on Tuesday.
Aye. So just for anybody that's wondering why Warren's asking that, Warren's forgot that Davey can't be heard on the show. Aye. So the questions will be asked tonight, and the winner will be announced on Tuesday. And if it's a success, we'll be doing another one, and we'll be promoting more of the story and the King William gin. Right, let's get this underway. We ready to go?
Okay, so here's your first question. In the English Civil War, which king lost his head? So, was it A, King Charles I? Was it B, King James I? Was it C, was it King George I? Or was it D, was it William I? So if you send your message through on YouTube, whatever one you think it is.
So just post your name on YouTube with the answer. But your name will come up anyway if you just post your answer. A, B, C, or D, and the name.
So we'll give you 30 seconds more there, guys, just to finish off, and then we'll move on to number 2.
Yeah. So that's a wee Civil War question. And are you going to get easier, Warren, or what? Let's tell us the truth.
Personally, I think that is easy.
So that's it. The answers are starting to come in, guys, but only for me. Let's get involved in this.
Okay, guys, the second question now. So this is again a fairly simple one. Who won the English Civil War? So was it A, the Royalists? Was it B, the Parliamentarians? Was it C, the Jacobites? Or was it D, the Covenanters? Yes. So what you need to do, guys, is put your question in.
Right, guys, so read the reminder.
With the number. So if you put in 2D or 2B or whatever you want to put in.
So we've done question one, right? And this is new question two. So question two, Warren's giving you the question. He's going to get it again. So just beside your answer, question two, A, B, C, or D. Warren, do you want to read it again?
Yeah. So who won the English Civil War? Was it A, the Royalists, B, the Parliamentarians, C, the Jacobites, or D, the Covenanters? We'll give you a first second, guys.
So we're going to go to question three, guys, right? So your next answer will be question number 3, and then it'll be A, B, C, or D.
Yeah.
Or D. Yeah. So A, B, C, or D, but you need to tell us question 3. On you go, Warren.
That's right. Okay, guys. So this is question 3. So you need to put 3 and then your answer. So question 3. James Scott was the Duke of A, the Duke of Monmouth, B, the Duke of Carlisle, C, the Duke of Cambridge, or D, the Duke of Oxford. Okay, so your number and then your letter beside it, whatever one you want.
I thought you said they were easy, one.
Mate, if you haven't been watching the question or you haven't been watching the talks, then they aren't that easy.
I'm too busy editing them, but
exactly, too busy.
Another good question.
I'll not say what they're too busy doing.
So where are we going? We're going number 4.
Number 4. This is another one about Scott. James Scott was a son of which king? Okay, so again, this is number 4, Davy. So number 4, number 4 the number should be in the center of the screen, but it is number 4. Okay, so if you put up number 4 and then your answer. So James Scott was the son of which king? Was it A, Charles I? Was it B, James I? Was it C, Charles II? Or was it D, James II? So you put up number 4 and then your answer. Yeah. Okay.
Guys, so after we've done the first 10 questions, a few people have missed out. Don't worry, we'll go back and ask you them again. All right, so you'll get a chance. Don't worry, if you've just joined us, you'll get a chance to do the first 10 again, and vice versa later on.
Okay.
Number 5.
On the number 5. So number 5 again is about Scott. So which country is Sedgemoor situated in? So which country is Sedgemoor? So is it in A, England, B, Scotland, C, Wales, or D, Northern Ireland? So remember, put 5 and then your answer.
A, B, C, or D. And remind me again, Warren, did you see this is easy? Are these easy questions you've given us?
Yeah, this is the pre-history to the Boyne and King William and stuff. So this is all part of the talks. Number 1, number 2. So.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Right, guys, so we're going to go to number 6.
Number 6, Stevie. So, who was William, Prince of Orange, who later becomes King William, in relation to James Scott? So, who was he in relation to Scott? Was he A, his uncle, B, his brother, C, his cousin, or D, his son? Remember, put number 6 and then A, B, C, or D, whatever one you want.
I'm just trying. I know the answer to this, and I can't think what the answer is. So I'm just reading it myself again. It's a tricky one.
Well, you should be writing them down on a bit of paper yourself, then.
I'm holding the phone and holding beer.
Okay, let's move on. Number
Right,
7.
guys, we're going to move on. Right. 7.
Okay, this is number 7. So, in what year did James II descend to the throne? Okay, so was it A, 1660? Was it B, 1675? Was it C, 1685? Or was it D, 1683? Okay, so again, put 7 and then A, B, C, or D, whatever one you want.
A wee reminder, you need to put the question number before the answer. Aye, it's just in case anybody new comes on. If you hear it later on, you wonder why we're repeating that. If you come on, you'll get a chance to do the questions later again, but you need to remember it's the number and the question answer as in A, B, C, or D. So what about number 8?
Number 8, we're moving on to. Okay, guys, so number 8. Name the defence force of the north part of Ireland during the Williamite Wars. So was it A, and I'll do these out, the Western Protestant Army? Was it B, the Eastern Defence Force? Was it C, the Western Defence Army? Or was it D, the Ulster Defence Force? So we were using the abbreviations here. So is it A, the WPA, B, the EDF, C, the WDA, or D, the UDF? Okay, so put number 8 and then your answer.
Yep. It's a good question, that one. I think I know the answer. That's one of the first ones I think I'm quite certain the answer to, but other ones have been tricky. Aye.
Okay, guys.
Number 9, let's go for number 9. Let's get it going.
Okay, so where was the Great Fire of 1666 that's meant to be dealing? Is it A, Glasgow? Is it B, Belfast? Was it C, London? Or was it D, Edinburgh? Okay, so that's 1666, guys. That's a technical hitch there by our expert.
So the Great Fire of 1666, where was it?
So you put your number 9 and then your A, B, C, or D, whatever one you think it is.
That's a really good question.
Okay, guys, so let's move
Guys,
on.
we're going to do number 10 and then we'll go back. We'll go back and quickly do them right.
So, who was the mistress of Charles II? Okay. Was it A, Anne Keppel? Was it B, Nell Gwynn? Was it C, Sarah Churchill? Or was it D, Anne Hyde? She was also known as an orange seller. Okay. And she was an actress as well. So quite
I love the fact, Warren, I love the fact that your clue gives me not one single clue, but
Right, so she was a mistress of Charles II, but she was also an orange seller. I don't know, nothing to do with him though. And she also was an actress, so quite famous person.
I'm howling here. I'm glad this is the.
Yes,
right, we're going to quickly do the 10 again.
Okay, we'll go through them very quickly here. Number 1. Okay, so number 1, I'll put up on the screen there, guys. Okay, it's in the English Civil War, what king lost his head? So was it A, Charles I, B, James I, C, George I, or D, William I? Okay, number 2, who won the English Civil War? Was it A, the Royalists, B, the Parliamentarians, C, the Jacobites, or D, the Covenanters? And this is number 3. James Scott was the Duke of A, Monmouth, B, Carlisle, C, Cambridge, or D, Oxford. And then James Scott was the son of which king? Was it A, Charles I, B, James I, C, Charles II, or D, James II? And in which country, I keep saying county, which country is Sedgemoor? Is it A, England, B, Scotland, C, Wales, or D, Northern Ireland? And who was William, Prince of Orange, in relation to James Scott? Was it A, his uncle, B, his brother, C, his cousin, or D, his son? Number 7, what year did James ascend to the throne? Was it A, 1660, B, 1675, C, 1685, or D, 1683? Number 8, name the defence force in Ulster during the Williamite Wars. Was it A, the WPA, B, the EDF, C, the WDA, or D, the UDF? And number 9,
one there.
where was the Great Fire in 1666? Was it A, Glasgow, B, Belfast, C, London, or D, Edinburgh? And the last one, who was the mistress of Charles II, also known as the Orange Seller? Was it A, Anne Keppel, B, Nell Gwynn, C, Sarah Churchill, or D, Anne Hyde?
Right, that's us. Right, back to the
Okay,
next
guys, so
question.
we're going
Number
to move
11.
on. This is now part of the Londonderry talks. Okay, so number 1 on which is now 11 on this is who was the first governor during the siege? He was also known as the traitor. Okay, so who was the traitor governor? Was it A, Murray? Was it B, Wilson? Was it C, Baker? Or was it D, Lundy? I think most people within a certain loyal order know that one. Okay, number 12.
I thought the question was going to be, was it E, Kenny Miller?
Which minister brought a regiment to the siege to fight on the walls of Londonderry? Was it A, the Reverend Smith? Was it B, the Reverend Paisley? Was it C, the Reverend McCrae? Or was it D, the Reverend Walker? And a further clue in that one, he became the governor later on.
Ah, that's been a bit easier, thankfully.
Okay, number 13, friends. So name the hero of the siege who was injured 3 times at Pennyburn Hill. Was it A, Jones? Was it B, Burns? Was it C, White? Or was it D, Murray? The hero of the siege of Londonderry. And many clubs are named after him. Okay, we'll move on to 14, friends. Okay, what was the colour of the banner that was flown from the walls during the siege? Okay, so what was the name of the banner? Was known as Mitchell Burns banner. What was it colour? Okay, was it A, orange? Was it B, blue? Was it C, crimson? Or was it D, white? No clues. Okay, number 15, guys. Who was the Jacobite officer in charge during the siege? Was it A, Hamilton? Was it B, Berwick? Was it C, Lausanne? Or was it D, Sarsfield? Okay, so put your number and then put your A, B, C, or D. Well, number 16. What gate did King James ride up to during the siege? And he was shot at this gate. And it's also mentioned in Derry's Walls, so anybody knows Derry's Walls should get this one. A, was it Watergate? Was it B, Kingsgate? Was it C, Queensgate? Or was it D, Bishopsgate? Size, what's going on there for you? I don't know what he's what. I think that was what he was. Okay, Where were the Jacobite artillery situated during the siege? Were they situated in A, an orchard, B, a forest, C, a park, or D, a field? Again, that's part of the talks. The name of the place was called Strawn's, and then was it Strawn's Orchard, Strawn's Forest, Strawn's Park, or Strawn's Field? Okay. 18. Who was sent by King William to relieve the city? Was it A, Kirk? Was it B, Churchill? Was it C, Schomberg? Or was it D, Murray? Okay, so again, put your 18 and then your A, B, C, or D.
A wee Star Wars question there.
All right. Okay, number 19. Which ship smashed into the boom? Was it A, the Phoenix? Was it B, the Mountjoy? Was it C, the Princess? Or was it D, the Dartmouth? And again, that was part of our Londonderry talk. Okay. Okay. Okay, no problem. So we'll move on to number 20. And this is the last one the Londonderry wants. How much was a rat during the siege? We talked about this. We talked about this menu that was drawn up with food. So how much was a rat? Was it A, 4 and 6? Was it B, 1 shilling? Was it C, half a shilling? Or was it D, 2 shillings?
Guys, the way the questions are going just now, everybody seems to be keeping up. So unless you need to go back to one, we're just going to carry on. So you're just going to get 30 seconds. Anybody got a question they want to go back to before we do 21? Right, we're going to move on, guys. All right, so 21. It should be fine. If you've not got one of the questions, we can go back if you let us know on the feed.
Okay. So we're now into King William now. Okay, so where in England did King William leave to come to Ulster? Okay, was it A, London? Was it B, Hoylake? Was it C, Torbay? Or was it D, Troon? Okay, 22. What colour was King William's guard? So the guard were known as the Red Guard, that's A. The Yellow Guard, that's B. The Blue Guard, that's C. Or the White Guard, that's D. Okay. Who built King William's famous house on wheels? Now, we talked about this. To give King William some comfort in the field, he went to one of the greatest scientists of the day and asked for this to be built. So was it A, Newton? Was it B, Pepys? Was it C, Wren? Or was it D, Smith?
Good question, that one.
Okay. This is number 24, friends. Where did King William land in Ulster? Okay. Was it A, Londonderry? Was it B, Belfast? Was it C, Carrickfergus? Or was it D, Larne? I had to put Larne in because that's where I live.
Aye, that doesn't mean that's the answer, though.
No, that's true. That's very true. You should know that.
You should have been right into the Alarm Rangers Club.
Aye. But you should know this answer because we've talked about it long enough on the show. But you come into this place. If anybody watches Gers TV should know this one. Anybody that knows, anybody who's been reading or listening to the talks, should also know it. Okay, so let's go to number 25, friends. So what general came by coach to meet King William? Was it A, Kirk? Was it B, Schomburg? Was it C, Solms? Or was it D, Blackadder?
I'm down to two with that one, to be honest. I know two of them, isn't it? But I'm down to two.
Okay, so where were bonfires first lit to celebrate King William's arrival? Was it A, Belfast?
It's a
Was
good
it B,
question.
Londonderry? Was it C, Dublin? Or was it D, Carrickfergus?
It's a good one.
Okay. Number 27, friends. Where did the Jacobites first set up their camp at the River Boyne? Was it A, Dry Bridge? Was it B, Wet Bridge? Was it C, Old Bridge? Or was it D, New Bridge?
If you're listening to Old Orange Records, you'll know the answer.
Should do.
Yep. The Orange of Ulster.
Okay, number 28, friends. Where did King William hold his council of war? Okay, so this is the night before the Battle of the Boyne. They met with the generals and they had a council of war. Where was it? Was it A, Grey Abbey? Was it B, White Abbey? Was it C, Mellifont Abbey? Or was it D, Dark Abbey? Okay, guys. So, number 29. What date was the Battle of the Boyne in the old Gregorian calendar? Was it A, the 29th of June? Was it B, the 30th of June? Was it C, the 1st of July? Or was it D, the 13th of July? Now, there's a great comedy sketch by a famous Ulster comedian called James Young, and he says the reason we walk on the 12th is because the Pope says so. So that's part of the joke that goes with this. Okay. So what French king sent a regiment to fight, or sent many regiments to fight at the Battle of the Boyne? So was it A, King Henry? Was it B, King Philip? Was it C, King Louis? Or was it D, King Paul? Okay, guys. So now we're into the Battle of the Boyne and the aftermath. Okay, so what was the name given to Louis' Irish troops? Okay, so was it A, the Wild Ducks? Was it B, the Wild Swans? Was it C, the Wild Geese? Or was it D, the Wild Robins? Should have said Wild Rovers.
I think I know the answer to that. To be honest with you, I think I know the answer to this one. I've never heard you ask this. I missed that part when you've done the thing, but I think I know the answer.
William's allied King George came from which country? So William's allied King George came from which country? Was it A, Denmark? Was it B, Russia? Was it C, Sweden? Or was it D, Prussia? So George and Christian came from which country? Maybe. How many men did William have at the Battle of the Boyne? Now, we talked about this in our last talk. So how many men did William bring to the Battle of the Boyne? Was it A, 45,000? Was it B, 36,000? Was it C, 50,000? Or was it D, 32,000? Okay. And on the opposite of that, how many men did King James have at the Battle of the Boyne? Was it A, 26,000? Was it B, 45,000? Was it C, 22,000? Or was it D, 18,000?
I'm more interested in who counted both lots.
You see, they actually did do a count on each army, so that's how we know exactly how many there was.
Aye.
So, what governor of Londonderry was killed at the Battle of the Boyne? Okay. Was it A, Governor Lundy? Was it B, Governor Walker? Was it C, Governor Murray? Or was it D, Governor Baker?
I'm like that.
Again, that was part of Thursday night's talk. Okay. What hill, this is number 36, what hill did King James sit on during the Battle of the Boyne? So was it A, Cuts Hill? Was it B, Dromore Hill? Was it C, Dunmore Hill? It's actually meant to be Dunore. Sorry, David, that was my fault. Was it Dunmore? Dunonore? So was it Dunore Hill or was it D, Smith's Hill?
I was just thinking the same there.
I'll give it away. That's my.
I'm just realising. I'm forgetting that Davy can't. I'm forgetting you can't hear Davy now.
You're dealing with Scots and Ulstermen here. There's a translation problem here goes on. You know. Sorry, guys. Number 37. I know the country. Number 37. Where did the Huguenots come from? Okay. What's the original country they came from? Is it A, France? Is it B, the Netherlands? Is it C, Switzerland? Or is it D, Spain? And my family's ancestry came from this country because we are Huguenot. Okay. During the Williamite Wars in the Battle of the Boyne, who led the Enniskilleners? So, was it A? Was it B, Cromwell? Was it C, Wolseley? Or was it D, Murray? No. It's an E. It's an E instead of an A, but sure, we'll let you away with that.
I'm sure that one's the answer, but I'll not repeat what Davy says because you just can't hear it in the feed.
Okay, so what is the nearest town to the Battle of the Boyne site? Okay, is it A, Belfast? Is it B, Dublin? Is it C, Drogheda? Or is it D, Cork? Okay.
Right.
Okay. So we'll go on to number 40, guys. Okay. What king fought William at the Boyne? So who was William's enemy at the Boyne? Was it A, James I? Was it B, Charles II? Was it C, James II? Or was it D, Charles I? Okay. Let's move on, guys. Number 41. In which county of Ulster is Carrickfergus? So, is it A, County Down? Is it B, County Armagh? Is it C, County Antrim? Or is it D, County Londonderry? Okay. How many days did the siege of Londonderry last? Okay. Was it A, 100? Was it B, 102? Was it C, 105? Or was it D, 108? Again, anybody who's been watching the talks, they should know that. Okay. So this is a Scottish one. Who led the Williamites at the Battle of Killiecrankie? Was it A, Murray? Was it B, Mackay or Mackey? Was it C, Argyll? Or was it D, Blackadder? Okay. Who were the defenders of Dunkeld? So this again is a Scottish one. Was it A, the Jacobites? Was it B, the Roundheads? Was it C, the Covenanters? Or was it D, the Royalists? So this regiment, they were known as the Covenanters. Sorry, they were known as the Williamite regiment. They were known as the Williamite. They were Williamite regiment, but were they Jacobites, were they Roundheads, Covenanters, or Royalists? I can give you that one. Who led the Scottish Jacobites? Okay, was it Bonnie Montrose? A. Was it Bonnie Argyll? That's B. Was it C. Bonnie Dundee? Or was it D. Bonnie Kelso?
Or E. Crocodile Dundee?
Aye. Bonnie Prince Charles. Okay, guys. What nursery rhyme is a play on the Glorious Revolution? So was it A. Humpty Dumpty? Is it B. The Grand Old Duke of York? Is it C. Rockabye Baby? Or is it D. Ring a Ring a Rosies?
That was
Okay,
a clue.
guys. Number 47. We're near the end. Who was King William's wife? So was it Queen A. Queen Anne? B. Queen Sarah? C. Queen Mary? Or D. Queen Elizabeth? Okay. Number 48. Who was William's father-in-law? So was it A. King Charles? Was it B. King James? Was it C. King Louis? Or was it D. George? Okay. Number 49. Who won the Battle of Aughrim? 1691. Was it A. the Williamites? Was it B. the Jacobites? Was it C. the Royalists? Or was it D. the Roundheads? And the very last question of this whole thing, you're glad to know, is this one. What house, or what royal house, did William, Prince of Orange, later King William III, belong to? Was it A. the House of Orange? Was it B. the House of Hanover? Was it C. the House of Stuart? Or was it D. the House of Habsburg? Okay, guys. So if you let us know on YouTube, is there any questions you need repeated?
We'll give it about 2 minutes to make sure everybody's got a chance with the debate.
So what I can do is, while we're talking, so I can show you some of the weapons. I think most people have seen the weapons that I have. These are all. Someone asked me the other day, "Are these real?" No, they're not. We do have firing weapons, but these are kept under lock and key. Okay. The real
Warren,
weapon.
I'm just glad when you say you confirmed when you showed me that you were going to show me your firing weapon. That it was
Okay,
actually
so
an antique.
this is the main weapon of a dragoon. This is what you call a carbine. Okay. Now the Williamites, the difference between the Williamites and the Jacobites is this thing here. Can you see? Where are we? On screen. Here we are. Okay. So this is the lock. I've just pulled it back. Okay. So the difference between the Williamites and the Jacobites is most of the Jacobites have what we call the matchlock. So instead of what is in here, which is a piece of flint, they would have like a piece of string, and they would have lit the bit of string, and then they would fire the gun, and the ember at the end of the string would go in here to the lock, and it would ignite the gunpowder. Okay. The problem with that was, of course, in Ireland and Scotland and anywhere else, you've got a lot of water, a lot of rain about, and you get just a wee bit of water in the end of that match, and it's useless. So the Williamites, they had what is known at that time as a dog lock, but it had a flint instead of this bit of rope. They had a flint. So the flint will virtually fire every time. And how the flint works is it strikes the metal, and a piece of the flint comes off, and it sets a fire inside the breech here, and it sets the gunpowder off and fires the gun. Okay, so that's as simple. This here is what you call an apostle, and most of the Jacobites would have had these more than the Williamites. So these, you have 12 of these on your body. Okay, they'll be up around here, around your jacket, right round on the belt. So you have 12 of them, and that's why they're called the apostles. And inside here, you will have gunpowder. So you can see in there, you will have gunpowder. Okay, so you'll have gunpowder in there, and then you put it down inside the gun like that, and that's your full charge of gunpowder. So very simple way of, and that hadn't really changed for over 100 years. So most of the technology didn't really change very much at this time. But the Williamites had these, okay? This is a bayonet. This is the early form of the modern bayonet that you would have in the army today. So it's basically a wooden stock, you can see, okay? So it's a wooden stock with a bit of brass at the end of it. And then it's a piece of steel on the end, sharpened steel. And you just ram it in the end of the gun like that, okay? And that's, you basically point it at the enemy. So it turns your gun into a small pike, which is a
Warren,
small,
so Warren, was it only the Williamites that had that?
No, the French soldiers of King James and the Guard of King James would have had them, but most of the Jacobite regiments didn't even have. Some of the regiments didn't even have guns. So did the Williamite army?
So did the Williamite army have a bit of artillery?
Oh, very much so, very much so. The Williamites were a professional army. Take away the Guard from King James's army and the French, he had literally no decent soldiers. They were all, the cavalry was good. The cavalry was very good. But
they were the best.
The men themselves fighting on the ground, some of the regiments, there was one regiment in Londonderry, there was only 7 muskets for 700 men. So that'll tell you the story. Most of them had pikes, which were 15 to 20 foot long pieces of wood with a spear at the top of them. You know, so that was what they were fighting with. The Williamites were far better equipped. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can show you some. This is some of my battlefield artifacts here. So I'm going to show you some stuff here. So we're talking about the real killers in the field. Okay. And cannons are really what does it. So we all know what a cannon looks like. It's a long barreled gun on wheels. Okay. And they put lots of gunpowder down inside it, and they light it with a piece of match. It's another piece of string, and they ram down inside them different size balls. Okay, so the first one we have is here. One of them's just gone. That's a 2-pounder. So that's an original 2-pounder cannonball from the Battle of the Boyne. Okay, so that, if that hits you, you can see that hits you in the head.
Warren, is that an unused cannonball? Because that's not got any marks on it.
No, it doesn't matter. The cannonballs were made of solid iron, so it wouldn't have mattered what happened, what they hit, unless it was like a brick wall, like in London there, it would chip them. But if that hit you or me, it wouldn't make a difference to it. That would still be that it's in. So that's a small one, but that's a killer. Okay, you use them at close range, and sometimes they come in a box. And they were called canister. So you would have maybe 5 of them inside the box, and inside the box you would also have tiny bits of metal. Those are bad. They would take out 1 or 2 men. This thing,
I would finish you off.
This is a 6-pounder. So this is a big cannonball. Okay.
Oh, that's what they call it, Glasgow, the Malky. That would give you the Malky. That would
give you the Malky. That would take your head right off your shoulders. And this is what would kill battalions of men. Okay. And the way they fired them was they skipped them across the ground, you know. So this here is a 6-pounder. They go up to 32 pounds. So a 32 pounds cannonball would be the size of a football, and it would weigh probably the same as you and me, you know. And they are very, very heavy, and they have handles on them, so the men can carry them over to the guns. So this is the normal size cannonball they would be using, the 6-pounder, but they did have 32 pounders. Okay. The other thing which I dropped on the ground, if you just bear with me a second, was this here. This is a copy. This isn't an original. So this is the first type of grenade. Okay. So what you do is you lit this part here, and then you got close enough to the enemy, and then you threw it at them as far as you can. So they're called grenades because the French for pomegranate, the pomegranate fruit, is grenado. So we get the grenadine drink from. So that's where they were called grenades. Very deadly. They weren't so much used in the Williamite Wars as much as they are later on. Later on, there's whole battalions of men, grenadier battalions in the wars of Queen Anne, which is only 5-6 years after King William dies. You have that these guys are going, there's the whole battalions. So these are quite deadly. In here I have my little box of tricks. So in here we have some real things. Okay, so this is a real musket ball, you can see, and this one's a Jacobite one. The reason
so that's like bullets.
one, if everybody can see it.
Is that like bullets they use?
Yeah, that's the what they would have fired down the guns, and these are pure lead. I was saying to David earlier on, if a child swallowed one of these, they would have to go to hospital because it would give them lead poisoning. So we're not allowed to use these anymore at all. Okay, so we're not allowed to fire anything out of the end of their guns except for paper nowadays. Okay, this one, if you can see it, is a Williamite one. Okay, so this one's a Williamite one. The reason it's a Williamite one, slightly smaller, and we know this has hit something, but it's not a person, because if it hits a person, it goes completely flat. But if you can see, if I can bring that closer there to the camera, you can see there's like an indentation on it. Can everybody see? Yeah, there we are. You can see the wee indentation on it. So it means it's actually hit something. This is a new thing that I got in the collection. It's lovely. This is a Dutch officer's shoe buckle. Okay, so this would have been gold. It would have been gilt, but it's actually a piece of bronze. And this was found in the Boyne. A friend of mine who works at the Boyne Centre, they were dredging out the river and they found a lot of stuff. So this is where I got these from. We also have this. This is a piece of a horse. Round the horse's bridle, you would have a leather bridle, and then they would have gold and stuff on them. This is a piece of horse brass. So this is a Jacobite one, definitely, because it has a fleur-de-lis at the top of it, which is Louis XIV. Then we have some real buttons. These are buttons that were found in the River Boyne. So we have different size buttons, different size people, it's different size buttons. You know? We have quite a few buttons. And then we have some original coins. So this is what we call gun money. James, when he came to Ireland, didn't have that much money. So they made this money out of some leftover cannons. So it was called gun money. Okay. This is an original coin. That'll cost you about £200 if you wanted to buy it. So then we have another original piece. This is a William and Mary sixpence. And this is silver. Okay, and if I can get the camera close, oh, it's upside down. Turn it around. Yeah. There we go. You can see William and Mary there on the relief, you know. So it's lovely to have these things, and I collect them all the time. This is something I was just telling David earlier on. This is, we only picked this up recently. This is an original flint from a pistol that was at the Boyne. So this was found in the river, and how we know it's an original one is it's actually what we call napped. So it means on the edge there, you can see it, it's actually chipped away, so it's used for fire. So there we go, that's my wee collection of collectibles of the war. And of course the other thing is this is my Dutch officer's sword. So this is about 2.5 feet long, and it has the brass hilt. You can bring it across and let you see. That's a normal officer's sword for the Williamite Wars. There we go. There you are. That's the enactment.
So that's everything we've got for your collection. So for an example, for the quiz, what we'll do is we'll announce the answers on Tuesday night show.
Yeah.
We'll go through the answers again, and we'll basically, before the show starts, we'll do the questions quickly, we'll do the answers, and then we'll announce who the winner is on Tuesday night.
Yep, that would be great. That would be absolutely great. Thanks, Davey McVicker. He can't say anything. You can't hear him say anything. But Davey's been superb. Bar the odd bit of spelling differences there, but we're okay, you know.
Brilliant. Excellent, guys. Fantastic. You never forget we are.
We are the people.